Yep.
Welcome back to another episode of the AJ Sports Podcast. I am one half, Anthony Carboni, and to my right is the other half, Justin Vilche. Oh my goodness, the Stanley Cup Final has approached us. Already going through this, the entire playoffs. We are already here. Stanley Cup Final is set. We're here for a rematch between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers, which I called after round 2 in my second chance bracket because the LA Kings decided to be shit. The Leafs, oh my goodness, they lost. Hooray. Even though you see a Leaf hat right there, they lost. We got to talk about that. Brad Treliving's press conference. Brandon Shanahan is out. A lot of things Justin has on his mind that he needs to say about certain players in this league. So we're going to jump right into it. But first, we've got to say what's up to the boy. Justin, what's going on?
Bro. Everything's good, bro. Another NHL season is winding down. We're into the final 2. And, it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of hype because, we get this, rematch of last year, part 2, Stanley Cup Final part 2. Bro, let's start talking, bro, because I got some things to say, bro. I got some things to get off my chest, bro, because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of this.
So let's start with where we left off last time. The last time we uploaded a podcast, the Toronto Maple Leafs were lost Game 5. They lost Game 5. Pretty shitty fashion. They proceeded to tie the series up at 7 and then lose 6-1 on home ice. We're not going to really get much into that because we said it behind the scenes and we've talked about it a lot already. It's been all over the media the past couple weeks. So in the conference final, we saw Edmonton win, beat Vegas. So Edmonton, Florida, Dallas, Carolina, conference final. A rematch from 2023 saw Carolina play the Florida Panthers, in which the Florida Panthers took care of them quickly in 5 games, going up 3-0, losing 1 at home, and then winning 5-3 in a comeback win the other day to take the series in 5. Also winning in 5 is the Edmonton Oilers, who apparently every year decide to take out their opponents quicker and quicker. Vegas in 5. Dallas in 5. Dallas, supposedly the best team in the Western Conference, built on paper. Man, the Oilers just made them look like they were nothing. Ever since Game 1, ever since Edmonton blew that game, they won 4 straight. Gentlemen's sweep, if you may. Stuart Skinner's looking fucking incredible. McDavid is on a vengeance for a cup. Draisaitl's looking great. Unfortunate news, Hyman will not be returning to the Stanley Cup playoffs due to an injury he suffered from the Mason Marchment hit in Game 4. And yeah, the Oilers steamrolled the Stars. The Panthers steamrolled the Hurricanes. We were robbed of a Mikko Rantanen Bowl for the Stanley Cup final, unfortunately, which would have been pretty funny. But, I mean, this is exactly what Justin bet on the Bet365 app for his, free spins. I predicted the rematch from last year, so I got my free spins. Hooray. But we need to talk about this coming up here. I want to talk about the Florida series first. Justin, how do you feel the fucking Panthers are? Because, oh my goodness, man. Again, just take care of Carolina in convincing fashion. 5 games, gentlemen's sweep. What do you think?
What I think is this Florida Panthers team, they're gonna be there's a real possibility that they could be a dynasty. I've seen, with them heading into the finals, and I saw that their off season coming up, they're gonna have tons of cap space to use, and I think this Panthers team is gonna be here for a while. I think the series that they just had with the Carolina Hurricanes, I thought Carolina Hurricanes just they got absolutely dismantled. They looked sloppy. They looked frazzled. They didn't really get anything going. You thought there was a slimmer of hope when they were up 2-0 in Game 6, but no, Game 5. Sorry, Game 5. But that never came to fruition because they eventually lost in regulation. I think this Florida Panthers team, there's just too much to handle. You have 2 Selke nominees. You have goal scoring everywhere. Carter Verhaeghe's like one of the most clutch players in the playoffs. Defense is there, but Bobrovsky's now starting to heat up at the right moment. Because remember, at the start of the playoffs, he was kind of shaky, but all of a sudden now he's kind of, doing his thing. And yeah, dude, Marchand's trying to go for his second cup. A lot of these guys are trying to go, for their second cup, try and go back to back. So it'll be fascinating to see how they can, handle the Edmonton Oilers. But I don't know, man. Florida. I don't really know how you stop Florida. They went through 7 against the Leafs. They go to the conference final, and then they do this. They absolutely dismantled the Carolina Hurricanes. So they're definitely riding high right now. They're flying high, and bro, they are poised to go back to back. So Whew.
looking to go back to
They got.
back.
They
The
got. They got.
last time we saw a back to back was the Pittsburgh Penguins. No, the Tampa Bay Lightning back a couple years ago. You know, Eastern Conference Stanley Cup Final has
Yeah.
ran through Florida the past 6 years, and it will continue. Oh man, it's crazy. Panthers are looking dominant. Oh man,
Yeah.
just the all around the new like the new ads like Seth Jones has been a absolute like he's just fit in so well when Montour left. Marchand as well, like the depth on that team.
Brad Marchand.
Boquist
That's
come
10 assists.
Boquist jumping up and down the lineup. Sam Bennett, who's looking for a contract. Every goal, he's adding 250 grand to his value. My goodness, this guy's going to make over 10 million bucks in the offseason. It's actually insane. He's leading the playoffs with 10 goals. The Panthers just look hungry. They look ready. But the only thing, injuries. I feel like this team is playing injured. Um, you could tell. I mean, Reinhardt did miss a game. Mikkola missed a game. A couple guys missed games. To me, that team doesn't seem very healthy, considering they've went on. This is their third Stanley Cup final in a row, so it's a lot of hockey they've been playing. So I don't know how health wise they are. Obviously, we find that out after the season's done. But man, the Panthers. I said it before the playoffs started. Justin also agreed with me. The team to beat was Florida. The team that was most likely going to win the Eastern Conference was Florida, and they clearly proved us right. Man, they dominated. They took care of Tampa pretty quick. Toronto was their best. That was their hardest matchup going to 7 games. Think about it, they were down 2-0 to the Toronto Maple Leafs and down 3-1 in Game 3. Opportunity to go down 3-0. Oh no. Panthers show resiliency and come back and win the series in 7, taking out Toronto in a crazy fashion, Game 5 and Game
Yeah.
7. You know, two of the most important games of the series. And man, they just look like you said, poised to go back to back. However, on the West side, a team that lost to the Florida Panthers last year in Game 7 in 2-1 fashion, very close game, was the Edmonton Oilers. Last year, it came out. We just saw it's been popping up a lot. Zach Hyman saying, "I know we're going to be back here next year. I can fucking promise you that." And that's exactly what they did. Clearly on paper, like not even on paper, just watching these teams, the way they're taking care of each series and how they've dominated each team. Clearly, these are the two best teams in the playoffs by far. The fact that the Oilers, go down 2-0 against the LA Kings, come back, win 4 straight, then take care of Vegas. Like Vegas, the team like arguably best defense on paper, took them out in 5 games, could have been a sweep. And then same thing with the Dallas series. Like they could have swept these two teams. And it would have been honestly, it would have been crazy. The Oilers, McDavid last year, tough losing the Stanley Cup final. He is now in the second back-to-back now Stanley Cup finals against the team that did it to him last year. It's written in the storybooks for something magical to happen over in the oil country. But let's preview and predict. Game 1, obviously, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. All 8 p.m. starts. Probably the furthest traveling, besides second furthest of all time with Stanley Cup finals, because last year was it was like what 2,400 something miles or whatever with the plane. So it's gonna continue to be like that again because these teams are playing against each other again. So let's talk about it. What do you think of this series, Justin? I want a little preview. What do you think is going to happen, and who's winning the series, and how many games? Because this is exciting, man. These are two exciting teams here.
As much as I hate to say it, and I know I hate on these guys a lot, but I cannot see a team with great players like McDavid and Draisaitl go out there and lose back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. The way McDavid's been playing, and the way Draisaitl's been playing, and the way somehow Nugent Hopkins and Corey Perry have been playing, I just don't see how. They go bro. How do you go to back-to-back finals and lose straight year that cannot happen, bro. And I do believe that this actually might be McDavid's year where he finally gets his ring, and Draisaitl's year where he finally gets his ring. I do believe the Oilers will win.
I think it goes.
I don't
7.
know if 6 or 7.
I think it goes 7. I think they do it in there.
7 again.
I think they do it in there. I think they do it in Edmonton.
Oh,
Just like Florida, just
another
like
7 game,
just like Florida did to Edmonton.
Yep.
They won in Florida. I think it's the same thing.
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I'm gonna lean towards the Oilers because like the way again like what I said, McDavid, and he's been an absolute unit. Even guys like Ekholm's back as well. Stuart Skinner's been great. Bouchard has done his thing. Where I will talk about Bouchard later on, and somebody else. These guys are poised. I think they're hungrier than Florida, which I know I understand earlier. I said Florida is poised, but I think losing that Stanley Cup final last year, I think that will hungry them even more, and they're hungrier for the cup. So, and yeah, dude, again, like if McDavid wins this cup, right, like that would be huge for his career and his legacy going forward. And also, dude, like Corey Perry, this is what his fifth, sixth straight final. Like, bro, there's no way you lose all these finals, bro. Like, you got to win at some point. So, and yeah, I understand he won with the Ducks like years, like what, 17 fucking
But
years
he could
ago.
have the
But
most
still,
rings.
like
He could have the
five
most rings
straight
of all
finals.
time. He could have the most rings of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, dude, like you got to win at some point. So I just think and with Evander Kane playing and everybody else, I think it's just their time. How the series is gonna go, I think I'll just say Oilers in six. But don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The Florida Panthers, they are no slouch. Marchand is going for a second cup. Everybody's going for their second cup. Barkov, remember Barkov's Selke nomination. I personally believe Barkov is arguably top 7 hockey players in the league. Barkov is an absolutely disgusting player, and he's capable of shutting down McDavid. Let's not forget what happened last year, bro. In the two biggest games of the series, McDavid got shut down. Okay, let's not deny it, bro. We saw it all happen. Okay, so I'm not gonna count out the Florida Panthers. I hope that the Florida Panthers win. But like, how do you like imagine going back to back against the same team, bro? Like, are you serious, bro? Like, you can't beat these guys. So I think due to them losing last year to the same team, I think the Oilers will get the revenge, and I think McDavid will finally get his cup, and that's it. That's it. Simple as that.
I agree,
Simple as
but
that.
I think
What? What? But hold on. If
okay.
the Edmonton Oilers lose this playoff series, oh my, I will be here. Oh, trust me, I will be here. No shame. I will definitely be here, shameless, bro. That podcast episode. Oh my god, I will be there. I'm warning you now. I will fucking be there.
Okay.
Oh, oh wow, I
We
will
have
be
a
there.
whole 7 game series to go. I think this goes 7. I think the Oilers take it. Written in the stars for the Oilers to do this. The way they've been taking care of their opponents in these playoffs, especially just how fast these series have gone. Like a team like Dallas, they go get Mikko Rantanen. They've got Robo, they've got Hintz, they've got Duchesne, they've got Sagan, they've got Ottinger in the back, they got Heiskanen, they got Harley, Wyatt Johnston. Oh my goodness, that team is just built for a cup. This is Pete DeBoer's third straight conference finals loss. Wow, insane. But every year it seems to be quicker and quicker and quicker that the Dallas Stars get eliminated by the Oilers, and they did it again. Arguably, this series could have been a sweep had they not blown a 3-1 lead in the third period. This series could have been over a couple days ago, but Dallas is a resilient team, and they got to keep in the fight. Yeah, the Oilers versus Panthers. It's actually going to be. This is what I was hoping for. It's just written in the storylines. A team, going down 3-0 last year to the Panthers, coming back, winning 3, tying it up, going to Game 7, and losing 2-1. After all that came out on the Amazon doc, McDavid and the team are looking for vengeance. They're looking to win the cup. And I saw a clip of the handshake line. They were mic'd up. McDavid said, "Hopefully we'll see you guys next year." And Matthew Tkachuk says, "Yeah, we will." And guess what? A year later, we are seeing these guys play in the Stanley Cup final. It is crazy. I don't see, like you said, I don't see McDavid with the way that team is built. I do not see these guys losing back-to-back finals. They are hungrier. The Panthers have been there twice and won it already. The Edmonton Oilers are looking for a Stanley Cup. McDavid needs to cement his legacy and cement himself as the best player in the world with this ring. He has been playing out of his mind. Goals, assists, everything. We've just seen it. It's been crazy. He has been unbelievable. Now, for other superstar captains around the league, look at Connor McDavid on how to play in the playoffs, because that's exactly how you should be playing. Scoring, playing defense, doing everything you can, and winning hockey games, winning meaningful hockey games, because that's exactly what McDavid's been doing the past 2 years. Now, playing the Florida Panthers again, I see this going 7. I see McDavid winning the cup, and I see him handing it off to Corey Perry first, because my God, if Corey Perry loses his 5th Stanley Cup final in 6 years, I don't know what to say, man. The guy's just bad luck, and you need to trade him immediately. But I think the Oilers, are going to take this. Any thoughts?
Yeah, man. Yeah, again, like, bro, I don't see somebody as good as McDavid, losing back-to-back finals. Like, I just cannot see it. And the way like Stuart Skinner's been playing, like, bro, if Stuart Skinner goes back to his old self and like posts like an 885, oh goodness gracious, bro, bro, his head, oh, he's gonna like, there's gonna be a bounty on his head, bro, in Edmonton. Like, he better play like what he was like against like how he was against Dallas, bro. I swear, bro. Because if he turns back the clock to his old self, oh nah, it's gonna be long days. It's gonna be long days for Stuart Skinner and Edmonton, bro. So I'm just warning him now. Like, goodness gracious. Another thing. Yeah. So I think Oilers win. Let me just go into the Stars. For a second. Pete DeBoer. That guy has got to get fired. I'm sorry, bro. You cannot just throw your goalie under the bus after a game like that and getting eliminated. He says in the press conference. Now I'm gonna quote this because I don't want to get copyrighted. Um, if my thing just wants to load. He says in the press conference, anytime you pull a goal, quote, anytime you pull a goalie, the reasoning is always to try and spark your group. So that was the number one reason. DeBoer told reporters. Obviously, we were in a 2-0 hole right away, and I didn't take that lightly, and I didn't blame it all on Jake. But the reality is, if you go back to last year's playoffs, he's lost 6 to 7 games to Edmonton, and we give up 2 goals on 2 shots in an elimination game. That's a pretty big sample size. Okay, DeBoer. First off, we can all see the game. We all saw what happened. We also can just go back and watch what happened last year. We understand that he's lost 6 to 7 to the Edmonton Oilers. We get that. But bro, you cannot just throw your goalie under the bus and say that in front of all the reporters that are asking a question. Like, you don't have to go out and single-handedly just talk about Otter, because it wasn't just solely his fault. Like, things are happening in front of him that lead to these goals or lead to these shots, like high danger chances. So I think that's pretty inexcusable. And as long as going to 3 straight conference final losses, I also think that's also inexcusable. So I think Pete DeBoer should get fired from that. That's just ridiculous.
Okay,
Like
all
Otter's
right,
been
all
great
right.
for you all season,
I
and
understand.
then
I understand. Hold on. But would you fire Rod Brindamore?
hold on.
Would you
Not
fire
done.
Rod Brindamore?
Yeah, he's gone, bro. You can't accept mediocrity, bro. Dude, how many conference final appearances are you gonna make and then just shit the bed in? Like, enough. Like, bro, if you can't get over the hump, you're gone. Okay, if you're not, like, it's simple as that, dude. Like, come on. We've already seen it with Dallas. It's happened 3 straight times. Carolina, it's happened multiple times. Like, what more do you have to see? Like, that's it, bro. And then he's here throwing his goalie under the bus, his star goalie, who's helped him get to this position in the first place. Like, enough. Like, that's inexcusable. Also, Wyatt Johnson, listen, the Olympics, let's not forget, the Olympics are soon, okay? They are in about 7 to 8 months' time, okay? In January, February of 2026. Wyatt Johnson, I believe, has played himself out of Team Canada. Dude, you cannot go minus 16 in these playoffs, okay? Let's not forget,
Damn, minus
Wyatt
16.
Johnson last year was an absolute. Yeah, was a minus 60. Let's not forget, last year's playoffs, he had 10 goals, 16 assists, 16 points in 19 games, and a +4. Okay, this playoffs, he had 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points in 18 games with a minus 16. Wyatt Johnson, I'm sorry, but you are not making Team Canada. Let's not forget, that's just happening in 7 to 8 months' time. There's a 3 to 4 month break, and then they go back to start next season. Okay, if Wyatt Johnson can heat up before in those first 4 months to start off the season, then sure, maybe he'll be in Team Canada. But I think the way he played in these playoffs has just it's ruined his any chance of him being in Team Canada, because there was definitely conversation of him, maybe being in Team Canada. But now with this performance, absolutely awful. Another thing, going back to Edmonton, Evan Bouchard, I think he has played himself into Team Canada going forward. I think with the way he's been absolutely playing, Bouchard has been an absolute unit in the back end, getting bare points, and he's actually been playing decent defensively. So you can't really harp on his defense. So I just want to say that about a couple players, because let's not forget the Olympics are kind of right around the corner, especially with season's almost done, and then they'll be back in October-ish, October to January, and then boom, it's Olympics time. So I just wanted to say that about a couple players. Anything you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, pulling Jake Ottinger was a critical mistake in my opinion. One of the goals, I don't even see how it's his fault. I wasn't one of them like a just a weird bounce or whatever and it went in. Or and they also left Corey Perry wide
Yeah,
open.
yeah, it was, yeah.
How do you expect like your goalie, like when Corey Perry's in front of the net being the worm that he is tipping pucks, how do you expect your goalie to react to that if nobody's on him? Like he was wide open in front of the net. And it's actually so disrespectful to, he's been your starting goalie all year, and in the biggest game of the playoffs you pull him because he allows like two goals, which honestly a few of them, like one of them wasn't even his fault. Like come on. I think honestly people are saying, it's I've heard someone else spit Chiclet say it's preposterous to see like a guy like Brendan Moore get fired. Dude, if you haven't seen anything like progress since like 2 years ago and nothing has progressed for both sides, okay, maybe it needs to change. I don't understand. How did the Dallas Stars arguably get better on paper? They get the development of Wyatt Johnson. They get Mikko Rantanen, by the way. They sign him, and then they lose in quicker fashion to the same team
Yeah.
as last year. I understand they're like Edmonton's a bit different. I understand that. At least make it competitive. What the fuck was that? You got shut out in game 2, 3-0. You didn't score a single goal. And then as soon as the series goes to Edmonton, the goals are 10-2. Holy, where's your offense? Jason Robertson, a guy who has barely been talked about all year, started producing goals. Mikko Rantanen has no goals in his last 10 playoff games. Think about that. Since game 1 of the Winnipeg series, he has had 0 goals. And that's the guy you just threw $12 million at for 8 years. Unacceptable. I think a new voice needs to be integrated into the Dallas locker room because like this we've been saying for years the stars are aligned for this team. Like no pun intended, but like seriously, these guys were in the conference finals in the bubble, conference finals against Vegas, conference finals against the Oilers, conference finals again against the Oilers, and yet no progression has been made. This was supposed to be the year they went to the Stanley Cup final and win the Stanley Cup. This was it. This was it. You beat the Avalanche, who on paper looked like the better team. You take care of the President's Trophy winners in 6 games, and then you got shit on. You got destroyed by the Edmonton Oilers, a team that clearly wanted it more than you. And you got your best defenseman back in Heiskanen later in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's insane. Going on to the same topic on the East, Brendan Moore also should not be coaching this team next year because it's the same results over and over again. No. 3 seasons now this guy's been to the conference finals. He's won 1 game. 1 game in the conference final, and it was game 4 this year. If you want if you want to keep him and call that progression, I understand. I understand. Go ahead, no problem. But
Whoa! What? How was that progression?
No, I'm saying if they want to call that progression, winning 1 game, sure, go ahead, call it progression. Listen, it's nothing. Winning 1 game is nothing. You gotta win. You gotta win, man. The Hurricanes and the Stars are basically the same team in different conferences. Seriously, great defensively, decent goaltending, decent offense, and then yet nothing happens. When the last time the conference finals were done in less than 6 games was back in 2013, man. It's been 12 years since we've seen that, and this is later in the playoffs is when it starts to get competitive. This is when the games really start to fucking matter, and you really got to grind and dig deep. And these 2 teams just got absolutely destroyed. Wasn't even close. The Panthers when the Panthers won their games, oh my goodness, games 1 through 3, 5-2, 5-0, 6-2, killing them. Edmonton 3-0, 6-1, 4-1. What the hell? What's going on? It's unacceptable. I think seriously, both organizations need to really consider something with maybe their coaching staff. Something has to change clearly. I mean, you do have rented it for 8 years. Yeah. I get that, but man, where the fuck was he this whole series? Where was he? He was nowhere to be found.
So, I don't know.
It's I don't understand.
I know. Randon is a weird one because he'll have those hat trick games, back-to-back hat tricks, and then he'll just do that.
And then he's gone for 10 games. He doesn't
10
score
games without a goal.
He doesn't score a goal. And guess what? That is what you're paying, 12 times 8 for right there. That's what you're paying. So, honestly, seriously, both
I know.
both teams should really consider change, really consider like options, because losing in the conference
Yeah,
finals
change.
multiple times, like 3 times in 4 seasons,
It's unacceptable.
unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. No, no, there's no excuse for that, bro. Like you've made it now to the final four, like 3 straight times, bro. The job's not done, bro. You still have to win these next games. Like, you gotta win these four, and then you gotta win the four in the same like a final, bro. Like, just because you made it to the conference final doesn't mean you won the cup, bro. Like, what are you talking about, dude? So, yeah.
Okay,
Got anything else to say about
let
that? Cause I'm done.
let's move on. I want to talk about we got to talk about the Maple Leafs. It's not an AJ Sports podcast. We don't talk about the Maple Leafs at some point.
Yeah.
A lot.
Let me just say something. Let me just say, um, Lambert is off to Seattle
Yeah,
to
tough
become
loss.
their new head
Tough
coach.
loss
I
for the
saw
Leafs.
that yesterday. Tough loss, but I mean, if you bring in Bruce Boudreau instead of him,
He's been
I'll
he's
take it.
been
I'll take
he's
it.
been talking about he's been on
I'll take
the
it.
Leafs Nation podcast talking about what he would do.
Yeah,
So that would be interesting.
I'll take a Bruce Boudreau. So no stress.
But
No stress.
let's talk about this team. Major major backlash after losing Game 7 in the fashion that they did. 6-1 on home ice in front of all those fans. Potentially Marner's last game. What happens next? Who's getting fired? Who's getting traded? Well, it's all starting to come to fruition. Brandon Shanahan his contract was not renewed. MLSE did not want to bring him back. He has been a fan of the core four forever, and as soon as his contract expired, MLSE wanted nothing to do with the Shanna plan. Tree Living and Berube are going to have more say and more power than a lot of GMs and coaches do in the league, which is very interesting. I really liked what's his name? Keith Pelly, MLSE CEO. I really liked his press conference.
Yeah.
He showed a lot
He felt, yeah.
he showed a lot of passion. From what he was saying, it felt like a lot of change was coming, and these results that they were getting were unacceptable. Brad Tree Livings as well. That felt like a really good press conference as well. I feel that now Tree he doesn't have to go up to anybody and be like, can we do this trade? He has the reins now, and I feel that he's going to do an excellent job in the offseason of putting together a really strong team next year. I really think after listening to what Berube, Tree, and Keith Pelly had to say, I really think the Leafs are going to be a force to be reckoned with next year with what they're going to do in the offseason. What I think they're going to do in the offseason? Well, Marner, you're gone. Marner will not be coming back to this team. I replied to one of the quotes on Twitter saying because Marner said, "Yeah, I loved playing here. I loved it here." Loved using past tense, right? Doesn't look like he wants to be back. He loved the fact that he was playing for his childhood team, but when you got a fan base coming at his throat, coming at his newly born child, telling him that I hope he gets bullied after that, child was just born, and people are saying to his that they hope that his kid gets bullied. It's absolutely crazy, which honestly could have been Justin for all I know, but on multiple Twitter accounts. But
that was not me. That was not me.
But man, it's just he's been treated so poorly by the fans. He did have a 100-point season. But man, the playoffs, in those big games, he did not show up. And same with a guy like Austin Matthews. I'm looking at this here on how many players. I saw this list yesterday on how many goals Matthews had. Matthews had 3 goals. Brandon Duhaime on the Capitals had the same amount of goals. Cole Caulfield had the same amount of goals. Quentin Byfield had more goals. Nathan Walker, a defenseman on the St. Louis Blues, had the same amount of goals as Austin Matthews. Aaron Ekblad, same amount of goals as Austin Matthews. Kevin Fiala, who played way less games than Austin Matthews, had 3 goals as well. Nico Mikkola, a defenseman, a second, third pair defenseman on Florida, 3 goals.
Nico.
Seth Jones, 3
Yeah.
goals. And guys with more goals: Wyatt Johnston, Thomas Harley, Connor McMichael, Brady Tkachuk, Lusterinen, 4 goals. Nico Hischier, who played only 5 games. Adam Lowry, Morgan Riley. Morgan Riley had more goals than Austin Matthews in the postseason. Am I crazy for calling this guy a fraud superstar? Honestly, am I crazy for that? Seriously, how does your best player not produce? I don't care if he's injured. We saw he said, "Oh, I was injured in the training camp." Okay, you went to Munich.
Nonsense.
You
Nonsense.
went to Munich to go get that treated, and you still weren't healthy enough to at least produce a couple goals in the biggest games of your life. I understand you're playing
Yes.
Barkov, but like go look at Connor McDavid, go look at Leon Draisaitl. You're telling me they're not playing with some kind of injury also? Every fucking player plays with injuries in these playoffs. Every single one. Matthew Kachuk was a
Chuck is
goat.
injured. You know that.
Kachuk is injured, but look, he's out here scoring goals and getting points. Where's your excuse? Kachuk's not
Yep.
even as much of a skilled
Yep.
player. I don't understand. So
Yep.
they seriously need to think about what they want to do with Austin Matthews. Nylander as well. Nylander after games 1 and 2, complete ghost. I don't know where the hell that guy went. He was absolutely nowhere to be found in these playoffs. Now you did just sign him to 11.5 times or 8 times 11.5. Obviously he's staying. JT, I'm sorry, I think JT's got to go. He should not be on this team anymore. He's getting up there in age. And if he wants over $7 million, I'm sorry, buddy. You gotta go. You taking if you want to stay here, you gotta take a discount because if I'm Toronto, I am not paying a guy who's turning 35 over $7 million to be a third at best a third line center because I think the second line center position needs to be addressed. Obviously, Matthews isn't going to get traded. I don't think you should trade him. Nyes, you got to lock up Nyes. Nyes is like he doesn't want to. He clearly wants to stay. He wants to go.
I'm trying to get faster and stronger, bro.
Exactly.
I'm trying to lock that up ASAP, bro.
So your top line, you got to build your team around Nyes, Matthews, and Willie right there. Obviously, you keep the defense core the same. Besides one, which we're going to talk about, Morgan Riley, who apparently does not want to waive his no movement clause. So Buddy wants to be a Leaf after many seasons of failed seasons. He still wants to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. This is ridiculous. I'll let Justin talk about that in a sec. I'm just going to finish what I got to say here. Yeah, the Leafs, I'd say you rebuild around that top line right there, and you got to add pieces that could play in the playoffs. You need to add good depth. Teams with good depth are like the Oilers, are like the Panthers. The bottom 6 guys that can score.
Yeah.
Connor Brown has more goals than Austin Matthews in the playoffs. Kasperi Kapanen, a former Leaf, who was a healthy scratch a couple times in these playoffs already, has more goals than Austin Matthews. So adding depth to support that top line would be fantastic. Your goaltending, obviously, you keep the same. I would love to see the Leafs address a right shot defenseman that can put up points because I know we love Tanev, we love Carlo, but if Riley ends up getting traded or something happens with Riley, the decor is still good, but I feel like you can get one more point producer or at least develop one of those guys into being a point producer and quarterbacking that power play if Marner is most likely will leave, right? And then just you need to address the second line. You really need to think, is JT going to be that guy? I personally don't think so. I think Sam Bennett, you throw all the money you can at him from Toronto. I don't know if he wants to come, but obviously keep that in mind. Nikolai Ehlers as well. Oh man, that guy's contract's coming up, and I think you need to address that wing spot because the Leafs, other than Nyes and Willie, the wingers not looking great. Especially the way that we saw McMahon ghost in the playoffs. You need a guy that can really support that top 6. But we'll see what Tree Living does. For me, you let Marner walk. You go after a couple guys in the top 6. You go after some guys in the bottom 6, and you add a defenseman. I think you got a really good team heading into next year. Justin, you are the big Leafs fan here. You are the guy that's been through heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak every single year in Game 7. Go in on this team. Say what you got to say. The floor is yours. What do you think the Leafs need to do?
Well, what I gotta say is the offseason is already starting off well. The Shannon plan is officially over. We can finally be hyped about this. New future now looks decent. What I like about this is again what you said. Berube and now True Living will work together, and True Living doesn't have to go ask people. If he could just do this trade, he could just do it himself. Which is phenomenal work. But as much as I say I don't rate True Living, what I saw today on Twitter makes me think, okay, maybe we can trust Tree Living. And yeah, I understand some of the the trades that he's done. Lawn for a first round pick and shit. Doesn't all scream great GM. But again, every GM makes mistakes. So whatever. If it is a mistake, but I'll let it slide. From what I saw today, he tried sending Marner last year off to Vegas for Shea Theodore, which tells me 2 things. 1, Marner's probably not coming back because Tree Living does not want him back. And 2, True Living sees that the Leafs need a better defenseman than Morgan Riley. Which I how many years have I been saying this? The Leafs need a number one D-man that's better than Morgan Riley. Ever since 2019, when I met you, I told you the Leafs need a better D-man. And finally we have a GM who actually sees this. He tried in trading for a defenseman who's top notch, bro. Like Shea Theodore, like, let's not forget, Shea Theodore is a top D man. He can put up points. He can actually run a fucking power play. He can play defense. That everything that you needed, bro. So I'm glad that Tree Living actually sees the problems and he sees that okay, we do need a top D man. That was tremendous. As when I saw that, I'm like, okay, good. He actually understands what Leaf fans want. So I'm glad. I'm happy about that. What I gotta say, Matthews absolutely shit fucking postseason. He was absolutely horrific. But as as much as I want to hate, on what I saw, I want to see what he's gonna do now with the new guys that are gonna sign, because now it's gonna be a whole new era now. No Marner, that shit is over. No JT, which I'll get to. No JT now. I want to see what he's gonna do now. Maybe with new line mates, because I don't know if Willie's gonna slide down to second line right wing, or is he gonna just stay on first line right wing. I don't know. Right? We don't know yet. But Matthews, I hope he could do well with all these new guys that we're probably gonna sign. JT, I don't want you anymore, bro. I'm sorry. Your time has come. Okay, we signed you. You scored the goal. Whatever against Tampa. Whatever. Caught lightning in a bottle. Cool. Whatever. It happened. That was first round though. Ever since then, sure you scored a 40-goal season. That's great. But in the playoffs, kind of a ghost. That's just what it is. I think he's gone. Personally, I don't want him back. He's getting older, and I really don't want guys that are getting older right now. And especially if he's gonna demand 5, 6, 7 mil, that shit is just not happening. So bye bye JT. I loved you, but no more. What the Leafs should do, which I said at the trade deadline, was get a young center like a Dylan Cousins, but that didn't happen. So what I think they should do is try and go to Minnesota for Marco Rossi, 23-year-old center, who is actually pretty decent, which will actually help for the future as well, because you get younger in Marco Rossi, and he would be a great, I personally think, a great addition to that second line center role. Because Minnesota's also might have made him on the trade block, so I think Marco Rossi would be actually a perfect fit, and could help us evolve down the road, especially with Matthews obviously getting older in the future. Yeah, I think that should happen. Morgan Riley, I cannot fucking believe he's not gonna move. He's not gonna waive his no movement clause. Like, he's been a certified loser for the past 12 fucking years. I don't understand. Like, what more do you have to see, bro? Like, again, I don't care that you're married to Tessa Virtue, bro. Just get out of here, dude. Like, it's over. Like, you've been here. You're the longest tenured Leaf, and you have done nothing except for one 70-point season that happened 7, 8 years ago, bro. Like, it's over. You're not the same. Okay, and you will never be in Norse conversations. And that is why Tree Living wanted to get a better defenseman than you, bro. Because he knows himself that you're not good enough. Like, it's simple as that, dude. Like, enough is enough. Okay? But again, Dubas and, Shanahan gave him his no movement clause, so whatever. He's comfortable here, fine, sure. But, yeah, I just had to get it off because Morgan Riley pisses me off. So, that's whatever. Back to the forward core. Leafs need wingers. Ehlers, I would, as much as I hate the Jets, Ehlers is a great player, and I would love to have Ehlers on my team. Okay, I know I hate saying it, but it's true. Ehlers is great. Okay, I like Ehlers. If the Leafs don't get Sam Bennett in the offseason, I think they should go and pivot to Marco Rossi. But for me, it's either or. I'm cool with both. Obviously, Sam Bennett would be the preferred, but we'll see. I think a sneaky winger that they should go for is Kuzmissel. I think Andre Kuzmenko would absolutely slot in perfectly second line left wing. Again, the Leafs struggle second. Leafs are struggling with left wing fucking depth. Okay, so please, Kuzmenko, lock him up for years to come, and that's perfect. You have Nyes and Kuzmenko. Bang! Like that's tremendous work already. Okay, boom. You can get that, and you need depth pieces. Fucking re-sign Lorentz. That's it. Simple shit. Okay, sign him. Sign Victor Olofsson. 1-year deal. Bang. More depth pieces. And as simple as that, dude. And you can go on and on and on, and make your mock lineups and stuff. But that's personally what I think they should do. And obviously, re-sign Nyes. I personally think to 7-year, $9 million contract. But that's just me. Or as long as he wants to stay here for how long? 7, 8, 9 years. And yeah, I think that's it. If the Leafs have another shit postseason next year, and Matthews does nothing, I think I will officially put him on the fraud list. You could clip this. You can have the anybody can clip this shit. Yeah. Matthews, if he has shit postseason next year, he'll definitely be on the fraud list. I just want to see what he does with these new guys that are coming in. And yeah, dude, simple as that. Doug got anything else to say? Morgan Riley again. Mitch Marner, bro. If you ever need help packing your bags, bro, and driving to the airport, bro, I got you, bro. Just I can give Marner my number, bro. I'll come to your house and just pack your bags for you, bro, and I'll drive you, bro. Don't even waste gas, bro. I got you. Like don't stress, bro. If you need a plane ticket to like San Jose, bro, I got you, bro. Like don't worry, bro. Especially Morgan Riley too, bro. Like if you ever need if you want to sit down for a coffee and like I can convince you to move, bro, don't worry, bro. I'll make time. Like don't stress, dude. So simple as that, dude. That's it.
He will be packing Marner's bags for him. That's crazy. Ship him off to Vegas.
You know,
Maybe go with
Morgan Riley wants a
go
coffee and sit down.
go with Marner to Vegas. Hopefully, win some money at the casino and bring it back, and then you repay off Marner's plane ticket and all that. So, I think that's a really good
You already
idea.
know.
But oh man, change is coming.
You know.
Based off these last couple press conferences, change is coming to the Maple Leafs organization. Looks to me that they're on the right trend, and I feel that next year they're going to come back with fight, and they're going to come back as a playoff type of team. Under another full year under Berube, I think Berube gets an A+ for his work this year. I think he's a fantastic coach, a new voice in that locker room, which we saw a different. Marchand mentioned it that we saw a different Leafs team this year in the way they compete, the way they play defense, and the way they battle. And I think Chiefs got these guys, he's got these guys like listen, like this is what we're gonna do, and they're locking in. A lot of these guys like the way the Chief coaches, and I think with the right pieces, especially if Chiefs gonna have more of a say on who comes in, I feel the team is gonna be betterly put together chemistry wise, and I feel they're gonna be ready for those tough battles that former Leaf teams couldn't win, which is tough postseason games
Yep.
where you're down and you need to come back. Whereas we've seen the Leafs team with a higher offense, I think this next year's team is going to be way betterly built defensively. Looking at a top 5 defensive team in the league next year, if you ask me. But I think the fact that Berube has more of a say on who comes in, I feel this team is going to have a newer identity than what we saw this year, and they won't win the division. I don't think they'll win the division, but they will be a guaranteed playoff lock. Definitely one second in the Atlantic, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. We got
Yeah.
we got to wait till July 1st. We got to get through the Stanley Cup final, which begins Wednesday, June 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern in Edmonton. We are excited for that. Another Canadian team looking to go after a Stanley Cup. A couple watch parties definitely going to be happening later on in the series, because this one definitely not going to be over in 4. I'll tell you that. Definitely going to see a lot of games here. We are
Yeah.
very excited for that. But I think if you have anything else to say, I think we're going to conclude here. Is there anything you want to add before we sign off on today?
Um. Other than hockey, I'll say a couple things. Game 1 soccer today. Our season starts. Absolutely tremendous. We are absolutely pumped for that. We're gonna absolutely dominate the league. Not lose a game, not concede a goal. You already know shit like that. Shit is simple. Let me say, Blue Jays. Mediocre at best. This shit is pissing me off. But they got a huge win yesterday, 12-0 against the shitty Athletics. So that shit fire. TFC, continue to be absolutely fucking garbage. Yes, dude, that's it. Really, we just focusing on hockey, basketball, and soccer right now, and that's it. Simple as that. Champions League final this weekend. Hello, on the Saturday. PSG against Inter Milan.
Amazing.
I don't really know actually who wins that. I maybe Inter Milan.
I'm saying Milan because
Maybe.
I'm Italian, so we're gonna go with Inter. We're gonna go with Inter Milan, chat. Inter Milan's gonna win.
Inter Milan.
Oh man! So hopefully,
But yeah, that's it. Really.
hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will see you guys later. Let's go Oilers, baby. We will see you later.